Well, indeed, good afternoon. Welcome. This is KTN Business today. On this day, the last day of the trading from here in Nairobi, from our Standard Group Center studios on Mombasa Road. It is welcome to the program. Today, of course, is the 25th day of May 2018, the day the Standard Group celebrates its 100th AGM. Of course, that is a big milestone for the company that is more than a century old, having started setting the standard, indeed, setting the standard for the nation almost a century ago, and after that, going public. Well, from us, it is congratulations to the fraternity as we continue to bring you the news that makes the difference for you and your money. Well, today, a packed show for you coming from several different places, including, of course, the fact that later on in the show, we will be speaking into the trading bell conversation. That, of course, is the 30-minute segment on the second part of the show. Also here in studio, we will be speaking to Ken Geshinga, the weekend review that will be coming up in just a few minutes. But before that, we'll be crossing live to Cambridge in Massachusetts, where Georgina Campbell, Flutter Campbell, rather, Executive Director at the Legatum Center for Development and Entrepreneurship at the Sloan School of Management at MIT, is standing by to speak to us on what exactly they have been doing to drive, well, the initiatives around youth, entrepreneurship and innovation. One of the things that they have done, of course, is set up the Africa Innovation Challenge, that edition for 2018, and a big prize for several African entities. That discussion in just a few minutes. But first, to bring you up to speed on what exactly have been the closing numbers at the NSE, and also to tell you what exactly the money conversation has been as we look at the different currency pairs, of course, the dollar, the sterling pound, and the euro, and how they have been playing around the shilling. So what exactly are those numbers? Let's take a look. Well, the dollar pegged at 100 flat, 0.69 buying and 100.89 buying and selling levels respectively. The pound sterling pegged at 135.27, 135.57 buying and selling levels respectively, while the euro is buying at 118.59 and selling at 118.87 shillings. Well, the NSE, this is turnover in the last trading session. Of course, these numbers will continue to change even as the market does come to a complete close. Turnover, 494 million shillings worth of shares bought and sold. Shares traded, some 26.9 million shillings worth. Well, the NSE 20 share index pegged at 3,406.89 points, while bonds traded to the tune of some 1.4 billion Kenya shillings. Well, what have been the numbers that have been driving that trade conversation? These are the most active stocks on the day. Barclays Bank of Kenya moving the largest volumes on the day that it also held its annual general meeting, and of course shareholders proposing and accepting a change of name, one of the stories that we will be bringing up for you, at 19.66 million shares bought and sold in the last trading session. At River Mining moving 5.92 million shares, and Safaricom 4.89 million shares on the day. The Equity Bank counter, they are moving volumes of 1.35 million shares. Well, the winning stocks of the day: Longhorn, Eveready, Mumias Sugar and Liberty Kenya. Now Longhorn trending upwards 8.43%, bullish on the day to 4 shillings 50 cents. Eveready up 8.33% to 1 shilling 95 cents. Mumias up 7.14% to 75 cents. And Liberty Kenya trending upwards some 7.04% to 14 shillings and 45 cents. Well, the losing stocks of the day, these are the bears of that trading session: at River Mining, Cement, TransCentury, Kind General and Kenya Airways. ARM shedding 10%. They are moving to its daily trading limit to 2 shillings and 70 cents. TransCentury shedding 9.68% to 4 shillings 20. Kind General down 9.62% to 23 shillings 50 cents. While Kenya Airways is down to 10 shillings, shedding 5.66% on that trading day. Well, those are the numbers from the NSE. Let's now turn to what exactly have been the stories of the day so far. These, of course, Other stories that are driving that trade conversation are the Standard Media Group has held its 100th annual general meeting today, even as the company announced plans to expand investments in broadcast and digital media. The board of directors further confirmed Orlando Lyomu, who's been acting CEO, as the new CEO. The company expressed confidence in reporting positive results in 2018, citing an improved business environment. Company Chair Robin Sewell noted that great strides have been made and noted the major role the Standard Group has been playing in Kenya's development since inception. He said that the company, which was celebrating its 100th AGM, expected to enhance its social-economic impact even while enabling shareholders get good returns from the investment. The board of directors, apart from confirming Orlando Lyomu, also commended him on the good work done so far.
Why don't you put our hands together as the cake is being cut? In that. We can put our hands together one more time. Wonderful.
Our TV revenue has grown by about 325 million. Our radio revenue has grown by about 400 million. Our digital revenue has grown by about 100 million. Our direct costs reduced by about 300 million, and our overheads increased by about 600 million. Why am I sharing these numbers? If you look at the revenue side, we worked very hard and created about 900 million of new revenues, but in the same period, we lost 1 billion of the old revenues, and that has become the challenge of the media industry today. And I think the challenges of 2017, we can't say 2017 was the reason that business is tough. No. It has been there. What 2017 told us is that we must work very hard. So as we go into the next chapter of this business, as we start saying 101st AGM, as we start talking about our existence as a business, what has become clear is that we do not want to be standing here and telling you how things went wrong or what is not working. Management, together with the board, under the very able guidance of the board seated in front of you, came up with a more robust and aggressive strategy. Basically, we say that if we continue innovating at the pace we've been doing, I've read for you the numbers. You create almost $1 billion of revenue, you lose $1 billion of revenue, you remain stagnant. So what we've decided is that going forward, we want to be standing here and telling you everything we are doing to make sure that in the next 2 to 3 years, our revenues will be growing and not remaining stagnant. For that to happen, we have to be very aggressive, we have to be very nimble, we'll have to put in a lot of resources.
Well, indeed, good news there from the Standard Group. Now, staying with another AGM, now shareholders at Barclays Bank of Kenya have approved a move to change the name of the company from Barclays Bank to Absa, in line with its mother company's intention to attain a harmonized look across all its markets in which it operates within Africa. The bank's management was at pains to comfort shareholders and assure them that this would only move to grow shareholder value. There also has been a suggestion that Barclays Global may merge with Standard Chartered Bank. Julie Otono is standing by with the latest. Julie.
Basically, what is happening here today is that Barclays shareholders, a number of them actually met up to discuss the new change that are taking place, in which Barclays' name is being changed to Absa. And the shareholders are actually present in the meeting today. This is actually Barclays Sports Club in Ruaraka, where they're actually coming into agreement on how this is going to be for them. And right now, I'm joined with Caroline Dungo, who's the head of the marketing, who's going to give us a deep insight on how the shareholders felt about this change. Thank you so much for joining us, Caroline.
Thank you very much, Julie.
Yeah.
Yes, so today was a great day. We actually had a spectacular turnout. We all had approximately maybe 3,500 odd shareholders come into the AGM, our annual general meeting. And we have registered quite a big success in terms of getting the approval for our name change. So we have approval now when we are ready. And of course, once we have regulatory approvals and any other approvals that we require from a legal or compliance perspective, for us to change our operating name and our company name from Barclays to Absa Kenya PLC Limited. Yeah.
So is there anything else changing other than the name?
Okay, over time, of course, the branding, so our visual identity will be changing. So once we've got all the approvals in place and we are now ready to transition, you will begin to see a change in the way we look and feel. We obviously will be also changing many processes and many ways in which we've been doing things. So obviously with the departure of PLC and the advent of, our freedom, so to speak, in terms of arranging our systems, our processes, our ways of being, our ways of working, there will be internal changes that will be taking place that may not be immediately visible to a customer, but which should enhance their service and enhance their experience of banking with us. So visual ID, culture, and and service provision, you should expect to see a shift in the way that we behave.
All right. What does this mean for SMEs, small, medium enterprises, businesses?
So the strategy for the organization, which was revealed today as well, doesn't really change fundamentally, because obviously that's an issue around ensuring that you've surveyed the marketplace, you have established what the economic profit pools lie, and which areas you're going to participate in. So the strategy has been founded. The execution of that strategy, which does include SME, which we launched in 2014 and have continued to service, will continue. So that does not necessarily, I wouldn't say I'm tying that to the name change. I would be tying that to the business execution of business as we've always done, and we intend to play in that space as we are currently. Right. Yeah.
How has Timiza been for you so far? Has it been really adopted by customers, or it's still a struggle to actually get the customers to start using it?
You tell me, 1.2 million in less than 2 months, is that adoption or what? I think it's adoption. I think we've had a great reception by the market with this new offering, and we're looking forward to even more success. So far so good, and we're excited.
All right. Yeah. And to my last question, what about the merger between you guys and StanChart? Do you like clarifying about this?
I can't comment on media speculation. I think that's something that's out in the public domain with various publications. I am not at liberty at this point in time to comment on anything like that. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Caroline. As you've heard, the meeting has turned out to be a success in that the shareholders have agreed on the change of the name, and this so far will not affect the businesses that are being handled by the bank itself. It's going to be something that we'll see. Some of the changes are going to be affected immediately, but some of them are going to take some time. Back to you in studio.
Well, indeed, my colleague Julie Otieno there, drilling down to the crux of the matter at the Barclays Bank AGM. Now, we want to take you across the seas, this time to, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Well, my guest is still standing by. Now, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, recently launched its 2018 edition of the Africa Inclusive Innovation Challenge, IIC, which seeks to identify and promote entrepreneurial organizations in Africa that are using technology to improve economic opportunity for low and moderate income earners right across the region. Now, this has been done in collaboration with the Legatum Center for Development and Entrepreneurship and the 2018 Zambezi Prize for Innovation in Financial Inclusion. Now, out of these, 9 African finalists will be recognized and awarded here in Nairobi, in Kenya, during a high-profile event where 3 grand winners will also walk away with about $250,000 in a global prize award. And to speak into this, my guest is, the Executive Director of the Legacy Center for Development. That is Georgina Flatter-Campbell, and she's joining us live from Massachusetts. Now, Georgina, welcome. Now, first off, of course, not many people are familiar with what exactly the Africa Innovation Prize is. So maybe you can speak into that just to give us a bit of a background.
I'm sorry, we just broke up very slightly. Do you mind repeating the question?
So my question was around what exactly the Africa Innovation Prize is all about, what it's meant to achieve, who it's by, is it an endowment, and that sort of thing. What exactly is this?
So the Legatum Center at MIT passionately believes in the power of entrepreneurs to tackle the world's grandest challenges or the greatest challenges. Financial inclusion and the fact that 2 billion people on this planet don't have access to formal financial services is one of the greatest challenges of today. And the Zambezi Prize, sponsored by the MasterCard Foundation, is a way of finding the most innovative and powerful ways to advance financial inclusion across the great continent of Africa.
Well, the update was that there will be finalists, 9 of them, who will be awarded several prizes and 3 grand winners. What exactly are they expected to do with this money?
So the grand prize is we're awarding on the order of $200,000, and we'll be selecting 10 finalists across the continent of Africa. And the idea behind the money is not just to celebrate and reward those with the greatest innovations, but also what's a critical part of the competition is the educational component. So all of the top 10 finalists will have the opportunity to travel to MIT to participate in an entrepreneurship boot camp to engage with our ecosystem so we can learn and get to know the best entrepreneurs across Africa, but they can also benefit and utilize the resources we have at MIT.
Is this the first time that the prize is given out? What has the achievement been in the past? And maybe you can point out some of the winners that you've been able to assist before.
It's the second version of the prize. We've relaunched and redesigned the experience for the participants based on some incredible feedback that we had from the 2015 participants. Mm-hmm. The grand prize winner we've had some incredible participants yes. and winners of the prize mm-hmm. In the past. Mm-hmm. And we're really excited to engage them. So the winner of the 2015 edition was Kenya-based Umati Capital, which is a non-bank financial institution focused on the provision of credit and related payment technologies for farmers and small businesses. Other finalists, MFS Africa from South Africa, Plus People, Kenya, Charmasoft, Kenya, Kafia, Ethiopia, and they're doing incredible work to serve people across the continent and continue to grow and scale. Many of them are in your home country of Kenya.
So what do you think really is the end game for these institutions, the sort of social impact that they are able to achieve, especially knowing that there is a lot of need out there, various Africans, various youth in need of the services that some of these people are trying to innovate around? What exactly is the prize trying to drive?
I'm sorry, you're going to have to repeat the last part of that question.
Sorry about that. My question essentially is what exactly the end game is supposed to be, knowing that there is so much need for financial services, so much need for various different social impact services out here in Africa, and the fact that the prize must have some sort of objective. What exactly is that objective this time round?
Oh, goodness.
It seems we have a problem. I will repeat the question again. Maybe you can bring us up to speed, Georgina, on what exactly the objective of the entire competition is, what you hope to achieve in terms of social impact investment.
Absolutely. So the Legatum Center at MIT Sloan, we passionately believe in the idea that entrepreneurs are not just critical, but are the solution to global prosperity. Obviously, the global prosperity is at an all-time high. Less than 10% of our world's population are now living in extreme poverty, but we still, as a community, as a global community, have a lot of work to do. And the Zambezi Prize is designed to unlock and celebrate those who are at the front lines on the continent of Africa, tackling the world's greatest challenges through financial inclusion. And we are here at MIT to provide them with the resources, educational support, and hopefully some funding to accelerate their journey.
Well, indeed, thank you very much, Georgina, for that update. Georgina Flatter-Campbell speaking to us live from Boston in Massachusetts, from, of course, MIT, where she is the Executive Director in charge of the Legatum Center for Development and Entrepreneurship at the Sloan School of Management. Thank you very much. Of course, that update there around the conversation around social impact investing and what they are doing for youth in terms of enabling financial access and that sort of thing. Now to our next conversation, and I will invite my guest here onto set, Ken Geshinga. Well, thank you very much for making the time to talk to us yet again. Now, of course, you will remember that Ken Geshinga is the Chief Economist at Mentoria Consulting, a familiar face here in studio. He's, of course, here to speak into the conversation around the week in review. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
Now, first off, of course, big week, big stories around the weather, around corruption, around, of course, the 100th edition of the Standard Group AGM. What has been the biggest story for you this week?
For me, unfortunately, it's been the scandals that's really dominated the headlines. We've seen the issue around Kenya Pipeline.
Yes.
We saw the NYS scandal coming up. Then we saw later on Ministry of Lands, what's happening there. So for me, in as much as Kenya is one of the best places to invest, I think the issues around corruption is things that we still have to think about far much more.
Yes. So it would seem then that Kenyans never seem to learn. We have seen these scandals coming up, then going away. We did not see much traction in terms of prosecution, in terms of maybe bringing people to account. Do you think, because we've started that cycle yet again, we will be able to achieve something different this time around?
Well, we have seen some prosecution. Yesterday, we saw a lady who was jailed for 2 years. For bribing only 2,500 shillings.
Yes.
So a lot of people asking, why is it that it's very easy to prosecute the small fish, but when it comes to the big fish, issues around cases being tampered, evidence being tampered, it's never really clear. So I think we have the prosecutorial powers, clearly, but it seems to be applied very selectively.
Yes. Well, it would seem then that part of the other challenges that we're facing, for example, in the agriculture sector with the fall armyworm, may literally speak into this conversation where we saw massive efforts. It was declared a national emergency last year, but we still see that this time around the fall armyworm is still here, productivity having gone down. Do you see any linkages between this sort of corruption and what is happening in our agriculture sector?
Anytime there's corruption, it means there's lack of productive work happening. And we've talked about this in the past, that there is very good strategic plans sitting in these dockets. But what really happens is there are people who sometimes benefit when this information doesn't go to the ground. So what happens is you create that information asymmetry and you create vulnerability, and eventually people resort to corrupt ways to getting the solutions fixed. So there is a direct linkage between lack of productivity and corruption.
Yes. Well, away from corruption, let's move to some more cheerful news. The fact that we saw the entire flower sector come out to talk about the upcoming conference on the sector, the IFTEX Expo, which is the annual, so to say, showcase of Kenyan flowers to the entire global market. And this time around, there is a conversation around getting into the Americas market.
Correct.
Do you think there is significant opportunity there for Kenyans, especially seeing as the beginning of flights to, well, the American market is just one step in terms of entering that entire region?
Absolutely. America's economy is worth $18 trillion.
Wow.
So if you look at what we've done in the Netherlands, in the UK, if you can replicate even a quarter of that to the American market, for us, that's going to be a major game changer.
Yes.
So I think the first flights begin on October 30th. So we should expect to see flower sales in Q4 doing very well. So I think it's a very vibrant time for the flower sector.
In 30 seconds, the self-regulation around the alcohol industry. Yesterday, we saw them come up and sign a thing which says they will not advertise using young models and a raft of other things. Do you think this will enable them reining on the clampdown from government?
It will. The fact that they've been given the opportunity to propose these measures themselves, I think it's fantastic. We've had a major challenge in that sector because there's been sort of lack of regulation of sorts.
Yes.
So the fact that it's more of a cross-collaborative approach to regulation, I think there's far more welcome to it, as opposed to what we are seeing in Kiambu County, where we saw the county government really laying the law down in the county. I think that's been a different approach, and it's not been as productive as what we are seeing at the national level.
Well, indeed, that's all the time, unfortunately, we had for it. But on that note, around Kiambu County, we have, of course, seen just yesterday Nyandarua County come out and remove its, well, actually dissolve the entire alcohol control board, and the governor assumed these powers under his office. Maybe not a legal move, but we will see. Of course, these just setting the stage for the stories that we will look out for you next week. Thank you very much, Ken.
Thank you, Peter.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we had for this edition of KTN Business Today. Today, of course, is a 30-minute session. Up next in just a few minutes after the break is the Trading Bell. This week's edition, of course, bringing you up to speed on what exactly is happening at the NSC. Of course, some big stories coming out of that, so you don't want to miss it. But at 4 p.m., be your KTN. From us here, it is do continue to enjoy your weekend, but stay with KTN News.
Thank you.